Hi guys, Michel here with Michel Real Estate, and in this video we'll give you the market update for fall 2022. So, as we all have noticed by now, the war in Ukraine has definitely had an impact on the world economy, and since all loans are basically interlocked internationally, that means that we will also have repercussions on the Luxembourgish real estate market. The first thing that we have seen at this moment is that the rates have definitely gone up. We are now seeing a fixed rate which is just under 4% here in Luxembourg. And we have also seen that the variable rate has moved upwards to 1.7, which goes pretty quickly for certain households which are locked into this variable loan rates. But it also means that people that used to have a budget of a certain amount of money to purchase a property have seen that budget melt away. I'm talking about people having budgets from 1 million being regenerated down to 800,000, for instance. That also means that we can see the absorption rate dropping down. Why is that? Well, quite simply because less people have the capacity or the will to purchase a property in these times, and therefore more properties sit on the market and go stale. The problem that we see with this is that we've had a long period of prosperity on the Luxembourg real estate market, but now we are finally seeing some, let's say, more normal conditions here. Now, what I definitely want to hint towards is that in this upcoming months, so the ones that lead up to the end of the year, we will definitely see a drop in price. Strangely enough, the media, or let's call it the mainstream media, have not yet picked up on this, but us agents, we are doing price reductions with our clients almost on a regular basis. That also means that all you investors out there should be aware and go out on the hunt. Why? Because there are opportunities. People still need to sell their property. People want to move out to another country, go into retirement. Perhaps the house that they lived in for the past 30 years no longer fulfills their needs. The stairs have become too many. Old age has come knocking at the door and they still need to move. And that means that you investors out there, or anybody that has an ability to put in a large cash deposit or put in enough skin in the game, so to speak, for a bank loan, you guys have tremendous possibilities on the market right now. Prices will stabilize at some point, but for now we are definitely seeing a lowering of the prices. And again, we do not know why the mainstream media still don't do any kind of reporting on this. But that's a discussion for an entire different video. So the property types that have been hit by this mini crisis the hardest, in our opinion, are most clearly the 2-bedroom apartments. These apartments are the most common out there on the market at this moment. That means that any kind of buyer who is looking for a 2-bedroom apartment can have a large choice between a low price and a high price, let's say anywhere between 500k to maybe even $1 million. So those 2-bedroom properties show a large array of variety, and therefore the buyers can go out and pick and choose their apartment. Whereas in the past, this was not the case. A property would come up on the market and be gone within at least 3 months. And that would be tops. Now we are seeing properties sitting longer and longer on the market, and unfortunately the 2-bedroom apartments are the ones that are hit hardest at this moment. Which properties are still moving at a very, let's call it, good rates are the houses. So which properties are still moving at this moment are houses. Single family homes are still in high demand. And we see that a lot of banks still give loans for these properties. Now, single family houses are moving in and out of our agency as well, whereas the 2-bedrooms sit and wait for a longer period of time before a buyer comes and actually gives the funds for that home. But also in the houses, so the single family houses market, there are definitely some changes happening. They are not moving as fast as they used to be. So people become more picky. And when I say people, I'm of course hinting towards buyers. Now we come to the next subject, the first-time home buyers. Since most first-time home buyers are also the ones that will purchase a 2-bedroom apartment, we have seen that these people are either waiting out the storm or simply cannot afford what is on the market right now, which inadvertently, of course, brings us to the sellers, which either must wait for a buyer to pick out their property, or they will have to be competitive on price and reduce their price. Now, for all of you that want to get a bit deeper into the numbers, here we are. There are, for the second quarter, so Q2 of 2022, there were only 465 transactions being executed on new development, which means new properties that have been sold now and are going to be delivered within the next couple of months or 30 months. Now, that number has dropped by 17% on a year-to-year basis, which is a big drop, but it's not something that we haven't seen before. So for Q1, the number was 632 transactions. That brings us to a total for Q1 and 2 of 1097, which is a stable number, but when we grow it all together, we can definitely see that this is a low number considered over the past 9 years. If we double that number, we still get to a 2000 somewhat transactions done over 2022. But that's just hoping that everything still goes well for Q3 and 4, which we have not gotten the numbers yet for Q3, but they are never that great. So we can definitely say the following, is that the lowest number that we have seen was actually in 2013, which was 2,123 transactions of new development properties being executed. And we can definitely tell you guys that there is definitely a slowdown in new development being purchased. Existing property, on the other hand, has seen very stable numbers through Q1 and Q2. We are talking about 1,107 transactions in Q1, which is a very similar number to the other years comparable. And Q2 actually saw the same number, just a bit lower, 1,068. That's not something to be frightened of. Those are pretty normal numbers for existing properties being sold at the notary. So those numbers are pretty stable, and if they go on like that, that means that we get to a similar number to the other years that have passed. So we would get to a number around 4,000, maybe 5,000 transactions. That tells us that on one side, people are looking more into the existing properties and not so much in the new development anymore. Perhaps our developers here in Luxembourg have shrank the apartments to smaller and smaller sizes, while of course in order to make more money, but perhaps buyers have said that's enough. We are looking into all the properties which do have a bit more size to them, and we want to buy those properties and those houses, and no longer are we looking into those new development apartments. Generally, we can assume that new development focuses mostly on apartments because that's where the money is or was. And now perhaps we will finally see a move towards houses. COVID might also have had an impact on this new tendency on the market, quite simply because people that lived in apartments all of a sudden felt stuck there. There was no outdoors space for them, and they are probably looking for houses at this moment. So to sum it all up, the market is moving, but it's moving very, very slowly, and we definitely think that prices are dropping. We are almost sure of it, and we will definitely see an influx of agencies probably going belly up because the game is changing. But we also will see that the banks are being a bit more difficult and more picky on who to loan their money to and towards what property. Experts might actually come into the field at last, and that is all actually good news for the real estate market. Perhaps not so much for the buyers nor for the sellers, but finally we go to a more regulated real estate market here in Luxembourg. So these are the numbers and these are the tendencies for the fall of 2022. I hope you enjoyed my video. Please like, subscribe, and do everything you can to follow me.